So mad.
To live and die in the forest. Well, I mean, I grew up with a good family. You know what I mean? I had my mom and my dad in my life. You know what I mean? They wasn't together. But at the time, I just didn't like the limitations, you know what I mean? As far as like the money they gave you or getting what you want. You know, I hated layaway. I have to admit, I didn't like layaway. Like, I came from a family of like janitorials. Like, my mother's side, everybody was a janitor. She's a funeral director. And I'm not about to get into that. You know what I mean? She's a mortician on top of that. She get into things I'm really not into. And then on my dad's side, you know, it was more into the streets and outside. And, you know, he tried to keep me away from that life. But, you know, like most kids, what you try to hide them from, it sort of brings an interest to. And, you know, I was just seeing different things like, you know, movies and shows and the influence of like having my own and then going to school. And I remember one time when I lived in Atlanta, I had a pair of all black ones. And them the only pair of shoes I had for the year. I had them and some white New Balances. Them shits was so black they turned green. And I knew from then, I was like, yo, I want to make sure I got my own money. I don't want to have to ask nobody for nothing. And I found my first bag of weed in the bathroom in Atlanta. I sold that joint for $30. Found somebody, tried to buy some more weed, and I didn't know nothing. You know what I'm saying? I learned right then and there how you could just turn something into more. Like, you know what I mean? Turn my $30 into $100. And that's what really picked me up into the weed game. I remember moving back to New York, started selling more weed, dealing with my peoples then. And we was selling quarters, you know what I mean? Getting taxed crazy, but I'm making a profit. Like what I know now back then, my boy was taxing the shit out of me. I was paying way more than I needed to. But once I got to a point where I was able to meet people who was really gonna treat me right, give me the right prices, different people, I expanded and it reached out to going to different small cities around me. I got my people in one city 20 minutes away. I got my boy an hour away. With the smoke, it's way easier. You know what I'm saying? It's not like any other drug as far as like crack and coke and all that. You know, it's crazy the charges they giving people for that. So it's like you got to stay away. But as you get older, the weed money don't be fast as them chances that the drugs they don't want you dealing with. So that's when I would say I really stepped over into another lane of things and it started to pick up. And this whole time I wanted to rap, but I knew I had to invest in myself. I knew I had to pay for things like, so I always wanted to make sure I had some money in my pocket. And even though it really wasn't a lot at the time, I was making the best of it and just starting to learn where to put my eggs in the right baskets because there was times I was putting them all in and just making bad choices. You know what I'm saying? So some of the lessons I learned from that experience, man, it was just patience. I developed patience. You know, we all want things to happen overnight. We all want things to come so fast, and that's not how it goes, man. Like you see in the movies all the time where it's like a fly by night, he get on outside, and next thing you know, he become the man, and it's not like that. I learned that things happen at your pace. Don't rush nothing, and let things play out. You know what I'm saying? I definitely learned a lot of patience and a lot of respect. Some people don't got respect for themselves. Some people really let themselves go when they get down to their last or they bottom. And you know what I mean? And the fact that I was strong enough to have that mindset to know when and when not to go about things in a way like, what's good, man? It's your boy Jamal Gasol, the one and only, and you rocking with 24/7 HH. Piff!